The Harvest.
Greetings to you all, dear Africa FM listeners. This is Imene Nouad with the latest news from across the continent and the world. Gunfire explosions are heard near Diori Hamani International Airport in Niger capital's Niamey, according to media reports. Videos circulating online show passengers and airport staff seeking shelter. Calm returns this morning after a night of panic with no official toll announced so far. Widad Alawa is here with us in the studios to further discussion. Hello, Widad.
Hello, Iman.
Widad, this horrific accident is stirring security tensions in Niger. What can you tell us about this horrific accident?
Yes, Iman, last night was a tense and unsettling night, shattered the calm of Niger's capital. Explosions and gunfires erupt near International Airport, and nighttime blasts and tracer fire light up skies over Niamey, terrifying residents and briefly shattering the city's calm. As authorities offer no immediate explanation and pro-government voices urge citizens to mobilize. Videos filmed by locals showcases streaks of lights steering across the night sky, accompanied by thunderous blasts and multiple vehicles burned. Residents as well in the neighborhood close to Diori Hamani International Airport say that intense shooting lasted for roughly 2 hours before subsiding by around 2 a.m. and calm had largely returned. The airport, about 10 kilometers from the presidential palace and an Air Force base, serves as a strategic military hub. It is also the headquarters of a joint force formed by Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali to combat terrorist groups operating across the Sahel. Until clear explanations emerge, the explosions and gunfire will linger not just as a passing disturbance, but as a stark reminder of the urgency to provide a lasting solution to the volatility facing the Sahel region. Back to you, Iman.
Thank you, Widad, for explaining all of this. Still in Niger, reliable media sources deny reports circulated by Radio France Internationale about alleged security tensions along the Niger-Algeria border. The claims are described as false and unsupported, with no official confirmation from authorities in Niamey or Algiers, and this comes in a time where Algeria is supporting and fighting terrorism in the Sahel region. The Algerian Ministry of National Defense announces the elimination of 3 armed drug traffickers of Moroccan nationality during an ambush in the Gnema area in Bashar. A 4 suspects are arrested in this operation carried out by combined units of National People's Army, border guards and customs as a part of efforts to secure borders and fight organized crime. Sahrawi activist Elbiar Kintawi regains freedom after 10 years in Moroccan prisons. He was arrested in 2016 and sentenced after a trial widely criticized by international human rights organizations. The chairman of the French National Assembly Foreign Affairs Committee, Bruno Fox, says Ségolène Royal's visit to Algeria is a positive step. He describes it as an effort to help restore Algerian-French relations to their normal course. Let's hear Bruno Fox talking with Yunus Jama.
I would first like to welcome Ségolène's royal visit and acknowledge all the efforts being made to restore relations between the two countries. It is clear that the two governments have a number of grievances and points of tension, but the people we represent, for their part, want to strengthen relations, continue living together, and promote mobility. I am ready to come, but I have not received any invitation for several months. That is why I believe that any initiative aimed at reinforcing relationships between our two countries is a positive one. I hope that following Ségolène's royal visit, things will begin to move forward and that step by step we will be able to travel, reconnect, and gradually rebuild this bond. A deep historical bond rooted in shared interests that the Algerian and French people have and must continue to develop together.
The Constitutional Chamber of Libya's Supreme Court in Tripoli rules that an amendment to the law of the judicial system adopted by the House of Representatives is unconstitutional. The decision reignites debate over the separation of power in the country. Mohsen Ali Darija, a political analyst on Libya, explains to Lilia Al-Bunnas.
Constitutional rulings issued during difficult periods marked by instability, as it is the case in Libya, inevitably generate widespread controversy. In my view, this debate has been ongoing for some time, largely due to the expiration of the legal mandates of the legislative bodies and the failure to renew their legitimacy and legality. This has created numerous problems in Libya. There is also the issue of enacting laws of a constitutional nature at this stage, as such measures impose a fait accompli without broad consensus among Libyan men and women on the country's future and how it should be governed. This is seen as a preemptive move that risks deepening divisions. Many stakeholders had hoped that constitutional-type legislation would not be addressed during this phase. This approach mirrors what the National Transitional Council did in 2011 when it repealed political laws while leaving other legislation intact in order to preserve judicial stability and avoid entering into contentious constitutional matters that could foil further conflict in Libya, particularly unresolved constitutional issues lacking national consensus.
The force commander of the United Nations mission in South Sudan warns that the country is now closer to civil war. He said the state announces the immediate lifting of all remaining sanctions on Guinea. The country is now fully reintegrated, into the ECOWAS decision-making bodies and regional activities. United States Deputy Secretary of the State Christopher Lando meets African Union Commissioner Chairperson Mahmoud Ali Youssef in Addis Ababa to reaffirm the importance of U.S.-Africa relations. The two sides agree to establish U.S.-AUC Strategic Infrastructure and Investment Working Group to promote trade, infrastructure development, job creation, and economic growth in line with Africa's Agenda 2063 and the AfCFTA. The African Energy Commission reports that Algeria is among the few African countries to achieve nearly 100% access to electricity and gas, according to AFREC. Algeria maintains full energy coverage despite population growth, thanks to strong public policies, solid energy infrastructure, a developed supply chain, and sustained state support that ensures the smooth integration of new households into modern energy systems. Shifting to Mozambique, where search and rescue operations continue after weeks of heavy rains triggered severe flooding. Farmlands, homes, and key infrastructure remain submerged in several regions. Liorna Mukonori Fadzi talks more on this.
Search and rescue operations are continuing across central and southern Mozambique after weeks of heavy rainfall triggered severe flooding. Vast areas of farmland and hundreds of homes remain submerged, leaving thousands stranded. Action Aid Mozambique says access remains a major challenge. It also adds that some communities, particularly in Gaza province, cannot be reached, while parts of Manka are accessible only by boat after roads were cut off by flooded waters. According to the Institute for Disaster Management and Risk Reduction, at least 103 people have died. More than 650,000 people have been displaced, increasing the urgent need for food, shelter, and medical assistance as waters slowly recede and recovery efforts begin nationwide this week ahead.
Concluding this harvest with the sport news as the CAF Disciplinary Board imposes sanctions following incidents at the AFCON Final 2025. Senegal's head coach Pape Bouna Tiao is suspended for 5 matches and fined. Several Senegalese players are suspended, and the Senegalese Federation faces heavy fines, while Morocco Ashraf Hakimi and Ismail Sabari are suspended. The Moroccan Federation is fined, and the CAF rejects Morocco's protest over the final. In handball, however, Algeria faces Tunisia tonight in the semi-finals of the African Nations Championship. The Greens aim to qualify for the final for the second consecutive edition, while title holders Egypt meet Cape Verde in the other semi-final. That was all for today's Harvest. Thank you for paying attention to The Fullest. It was directed by Yasmin Bakay, control with Karim, streaming with Riyadh and Malika for observation.